I'm going to chuck a pencil under the back of that. Might be better. And we're back at the Kobe Well welding rods point. Okay. This is Boy Hard at It. That's very big leaves, and the frame is a door. So that is the door going from this fan housing room out onto Lanai 1. So I know which one that is, because that's the only giant door with leaves in it. One is the seahorses, and one is crap. I can't remember. That was last summer. Still haven't mounted them. They're all still in the house. Barely visible down here. This is a tubing roller from Harbor Freight, $82 US. We roll the flat stock into a round-ended ring. The round rings that goes around the windows. We roll rebar into curves for stuff that has to have a rebar that's got a curve in it. Oh, this is the size case the Kobe Well welding rods come in. There's 4 packs of them in there. I guess they're 5 kilos a pack. This down in here is pieces of about 5-inch long, number 12 rebar. And we're going to see some flat bars later on. Maybe it's the ones for this. But these get drilled into the wall, and then 1.25 inches of it gets welded onto a tab. And the tab bolts onto a piece of coupling nut on the back of this doors and windows. So you just shove them into the hole in the wall. It's not threaded into the wall at all. And then you tighten this bolt, and then the bolts get a tack on them from the welder. And plus, they're going to be multiple head types. Some star drive, some hex, and some of them Allen head. On a given window with 6 things, they'll have 2 of each opposing each other. So it takes 3 different kinds of wrenches to unscrew them, if you could break the tacks loose, and they're going to be on where you can't get them on the inside. So, see, this doesn't look so complicated underneath here when you get a better angle on it. All those things are connected just laying under that table. Next. Well, that's an orchid. This is our bender that we bend all our stirrups and butterfly stirrups and all that kinds of stuff. There's some of these 2-inch Sketch Lady pipes are welded to this plate, and they were to make the shapes for the stirrups. Some are back in an early video. We got a whole tirade about how you should make stirrups and the radius of the turns and how they should bend around all the bars. They don't hold anything if it's a straight run across 4 bars. Be worth looking back to, but no use doing it twice. At least not today. Oh, Stanley tape. The numbers wear off before it breaks, so that's what else can you ask for a tape? These drawings, full-scale drawings, we cut off anything we don't need just so we can get up close to it. You know, it's just scrap paper after it's done here. But we don't do 2 of anything. At least we didn't at this point. We needed some ornamental iron for this deck around this level here, and we decided we'd use fish on it. And about 1/3 of the fish we did for doors and things down on the first floor were the right size. So we reused about 12 drawings out of 52. The other ones are all fresh, new drawings. Well, it's an orchid. I don't know what else about it. And, oh, the drawings. They were printed by a place called MicroCAD. It's a school for AutoCAD, learn AutoCAD drawing, but they also do commercial printing. They do a lot of stuff for architects. These new modern style houses and things. You have a building permit. These people can take something that you prepared for an inkjet printer, which ours was for inkjet, but they won't accept those at the building permit place, only blueprints. They are still in the 50s. So they make a celluloid, just like if you were drawing on tracing paper, which is what they expect to see when you come in there, but ours was electronic. And they can take and print a piece of celluloid. So the ink on the celluloid takes the place of the ink on the tracing paper, the India ink, and the celluloid takes the place of the tracing paper. And it actually makes a much clearer print than the original process with the tracing paper and India ink, because you can have such fine lines, and you can change your line width when you print it. You know, there's so many things you can do to it. It makes a really great looking building permit drawing. You can have really small text and still be able to read it. Anyway, these people, we did 174 pieces of artwork, and they all had their own drawing. It's on a roll feed printer. They got like 6 of them in a room, all different sizes, about 2 brands. And then there's a blueprint room that's in a separate room. And the school is classrooms on either side of where they do the printing. But they're pricey. I mean, I won't kid you, they're pricey. But they were doing drawings like 12 feet long for us, and it doesn't bother them at all how big it is. If it's less than a roll of paper, you know, and that's like 150 meters, they'll just keep on printing. Keep rolling it up as it comes out. But we did full-scale prints. We set the line width at 50 millimeters. And after the first dozen or so, I increased that, but I'm not sure how much. About half again more. Originally, the drawings are done in hairline. And the text, you set the width of the font in the text, so it would be a different size. But when the drawing lines are hairline, and really good if you're trying to put a bunch of holes in a piece of steel plate and you're using a hand center punch, or even one of the spring-loaded punches where it's got a really sharp point on it, that hairline's wonderful. And plus, we draw a little a circle with radial lines to guide you to that center point. Every place there's a bolt hole. And an outer bolt hole around that, which is the size of the bolt, so you get the right size bolt in the right size hole. Anyway, MicroCAD for printing, it's in Baku ore, across from the S&M, sort of where KFC used to be. You could see them out the window, that side. If you go in the side where the bakery's on either side of the door, like the main lobby, and go down to the left end of the building and back out, you'll be walking right at it. It's across the street. And they got a sign out front. And they are open 7 days a week, and they're open into the evening because it's a school. So, and you can drop something off at like 10:30 in the morning. We'd come up and go to our date day was Sundays. So before the lockdown, and we could go over to an SM mall or someplace and have lunch and look around and do some grocery shopping. End of the day, we go over there and pay the people, take it home with us the same day. So they're friendly. Well, it's Philippines; they're all friendly, but we were well pleased with them, and they spoke and understood English. This is the same drawing with nobody else around it. This is a different drawing. It's also a boy in the picture. When you select drawings for ornamental iron, you need things that have natural lines, like on flowers or fish with color stripes, something that covers the big open areas so you can put some metal bars there that look like they belong for a security grill. So a lot of things that you would really like to make a grill out of, they don't work out because they'll leave a hole big enough that you can put a small child through it, and then they can unlock your house and you come home to nothing, or somebody could have bad intentions and catch you asleep. So we use drawings that we can get to a 5x8 hole, or smaller. There are a few, and I mean damn few, instances where I added something that wasn't there because I really wanted that drawing for some reason. This is the bender. This pink pipe out here is it's only about 5 feet long. It's got a 2.5 inch cam roller with a 1 inch stud. One here, one there. One drops into a hole in the bender, and the other one, when you move that handle around, it swings a circle. We made this thing so we could hire young girls out of high school, somebody with a couple of small children that were already in school, and they were at least 18 years old. We wanted to be able to have a job for anybody that walked up to the door. So we decided they could build stirrups if we gave them something with a mechanical advantage to do it. And if they get here at the end of this, there's one of the guys' daughters, Bea. She was about 15 at the time. She made stirrups for a couple of days. And they all come out exactly the same, and it's not hard to bend. She didn't bend any number 18 bar, but she did bend 12s, for stirrups. We don't do much. The only thing heavier than the 12 in the stirrups is 16, and that was for the columns. All the columns are 16. And on the floor down here, that's a bunch of flat bar drug inside so they can do it no matter what the weather is. That's a better picture of our roller. It's a 3-row roller. You can see the shininess of one here. You can kind of make out the one there, but looking through this slot. This is a solid plate, but that's a slot. And there's another roller on this adjustment screw coming down from the top. We misplaced the wheel, which has the axle as part of it. It turns this thing. So I went to Manny's bicycle shop and got a used rim off of a tricycle, which has, it's a bicycle tricycle, pedicab. It has much heavier spokes and hubs, about the same rim as a regular bicycle, and bought a new tire and tube. And then I ground the a 3/4 inch bolt head down to where it would fit into the bearing cup, and carried it to the machine shop, and they welded it. At that time, we weren't doing any welding, but now we're into the welding. We have to pay for the machine shop time to get use of their electricity. We pay for the electricity like it was one of their workers working, and our guys getting the experience on the welding. Everybody's happy about it. Oh, red pants, that got to be Benji. Red pants and a t-shirt over his head inside. That's Benji. Oh, and this is our spare plywood. It's all screwed to the floor so it won't fly away. Okay. Benji will mark maybe 200 cuts, and then he'll pull half out either side, and then boy runs over there before you can ask him. He works the handle up and down. The handle's 10 feet. He works it from there. I work it from the end. I'm just not as steady on my feet. But he after they cut it in half, then Benji just holds up the other end, and they just cut until it's gone. And he'll have a whole couple water buckets full of parts. And he's set for the rest of the day and into tomorrow. Doesn't have to bother anybody. He just bends the iron and puts the nails beside it. At this time, we were having Boyd do all the tack welding. They weld the top corners of everything together, and then they flip it over on the floor, and they weld the corners on the bottom side. But then we got to thinking, there was no use having only one guy for each job. Let's cross-train them. So we had Benji start doing tacking. And he's not done any real serious, inline long welds, but he's not least bit afraid of tacking. He knows how to adjust a welder and wear the helmet, and how to put the rods in and out, and no slag in his welds. What he does looks pretty. And he had to get steel toe shoes to weld. I don't let people weld in their bare feet and flip flops. It's it just makes your knees weak when you think of it. And he wears the safety gear. See the safety glasses on his head, and he'll have a respirator hair hanging down around his neck usually. At least he's got the first stage right. He's carried them with him. We just get him to actually use them. But that's how that goes. Anyway, we wore out the first rebar cutter. They have a tendency to spread open down here where the blades go at the bottom. And we weld different pieces of thing on edge to hold them back together. And we never really do wear out all the faces of the cutters before the thing just gets to where you're working on it as much as you're using it. And so we went up to the hardware store on the way to Manila, and we priced one. Then we went to another hardware store where we bought the drill press, and the price was about the same, different brand. So we bought the one at the second store, on the way back through, we stopped at City Light and we bought this one. Both of them the same weight capacity. I don't see the other one in the picture. It's around the corner over here someplace. But I didn't ever want to be without that, because if you don't have that, you're using a cutoff wheel and an angle grinder with no guard. And or the big chop saw. Noisy, throws sparks a long way. But it cuts it. You can cut an awful lot of stuff with it. We use it for bigger things, 3s thick and thicker, 1/2 inch thick, 1/2 by 3.5, stuff like that, chop saw. If you're talking 1.5 inches wide and less than 1/4, rebar cutter. And the angle grinder with a blade on it will cut anything. Just kind of worrisome that somebody could get hurt. Didn't come halfway around the world to hurt somebody. This is another view. See, he's holding this end of it out here, and he's got a piece going out to there someplace. And he just cutting off. He's working on a pile down here in front of his feet. And he'll take and shove him with his foot out of the way if it get bothering him. Stairwell room, you can see that started down the stairs there. And the extra light, that's from where that door with the leaves is going to go. Yeah, when I find something I like to take pictures of, apparently I take a whole roll. Oh, there's our vise, made out of plate. The lead screw is a V-shaped thread. I wish it was Acme thread, but other than that, it's a substantial piece. And we beat and bang and bend all kinds of stuff with it. So, drill press. I don't know, maybe 6,000-7,000 holes. And there's a return spring for this. It runs a spindle back up. It's under the. You can put the handle on either side. It's inside the other handle. The end came off like a pull starter on a gas engine, and we were so busy using it that we put a rubber band on it. It's not hard to fix, and if I wasn't in lockdown, it'd be something I'd be doing out there. I do the tool repair. I'm not allowed to do any of the actual work. That's taking a job from a Filipino, so we can't do that. But I can fix the tools. That's completely legal. The other one that baffles me is foreigners can't be near children. So you walk down the street and everybody wants a few pesos. It's all right for them to ask for pesos. They're not allowed to ask for pesos, and they're not allowed near foreigners. There's laws against it. But what do I do when I say, yeah, I'd like to give a kid a couple pesos, but I can't hand him money. That's illegal. I can't be within, I don't know what the distance is, but I'm not allowed to be near him or her or whatever it is, or a group. So I come up with something that my wife absolutely hates. I take a handful of mostly pesos, put a 10 peso piece in the middle of it, let them see I got it, and then I just throw the money away. I'm not giving it to them. I'm just getting junk out of my pocket and throwing it away. Just look, make sure there's no traffic coming, and just throw it on a hard surface like a street. They squeal and laugh, and you just have a great time picking it up. And by the time they've got that up, I'm well gone. And I've only got enough to do it maybe twice before I run out. But she says I'm disrespecting them. I hope I'm not. I don't feel that I am, so I'm not going to stop doing it. I don't do everything she says. I do nearly everything she says. It's got to make a little bit of sense to me, or being disrespectful of her. Then I'll do something I really think the other way about, but I don't want to disrespect my wife. So, there's a great view of that chop saw. You can tell it's a quality build. Just look at all the shapes of the parts and the number of screws that are in it, and an open face fan. The flip open screw here, chrome plated, nice, sharp cut threads on it. The spring is just the right height to pick it up and not hard to compress, bringing it down. It's just a great piece. I wish they sold them in the U.S. What have I got? I got a DeWalt, 14-inch DeWalt. No complaints about it except it's loud. But it's a good saw too. They sell those here, but we got this at the local hardware store. I got the opinion he'd had it for like a month or two and he hadn't moved it. And he knocked a little off the price. And then we found out that when we went there regularly, like we bought 50 bags of cement at a time, that we were getting like 10 pesos a bag cheaper than his regular price. So we do a lot of business with him. He's a great guy, and he'll get what you need if he hasn't got it in stock. You want a different brand of skim coat, you get it Wednesday. You know, if you got the brand he's got, he puts it on the truck. Ah, there's the Asawa. She's leaning so hard she's made this wall crooked. Or maybe she's holding this one straight. I'm not sure which. We'll blame it on the camera. There's no wall that's that crooked anywhere in the building. And if it was, they wouldn't have put the two welded wire mesh at an angle. They'd put it straight up and down. Got a place for a stairwell. She's in lanai number 1. The lanais have the window in the back, and the walls just out of sight over here would be the window for this wall. But they all have one. And that's her little purse. She's got another one too. Takes 2 people to carry it. Same lanai. Still hasn't got a picture of this window. She had them pile all the experienced lumber in one place one morning. So we're going to go through that. And if it's sound and longer than about 18 inches, it gets stacked by length. Completely disassembled phenolic board. That goes to the pile out front. All this, any plastic left over, we don't put it in a landfill. We reuse it. If you're putting something down, concrete on the ground, we're not at least ashamed to put 10 or 12 pieces down there and put some of the little concrete stands on it for the rebar to hold it in place. And we'll just bury it under the slab. You're not allowed to throw plastic away in the Philippines. The plastic bags they sell decompose in the sun in no time. They try to decompose while you're carrying them. They're just absolutely flimsy. This is a video that I was trying to upload. It might upload it by now. And she likes that wall. Yeah, well, there's a little different place. She's moved about 12 feet. This is going into her little office place. And all of a sudden, those corners are getting straight up and down again for some reason. And this is the cement and sand that Oka put up there because he didn't like the looks of little bits of form lines and scratches in the phenolic board. A little bit of honeycomb. Okay, this video is too long. Going to stop. Y'all have a nice day.